Yes, we're live. It's happening. It's happening. I'm just checking my phone. See if anyone. That's it. Cool. So, welcome everyone to the Energetic Mastery Show. It used to be called something different. It used to be called Essential Live Show, and this was something that I was, started off with. But I had this shift, as you do, as an energy worker. Things happens all the time. And I decided to actually rename the show because it felt like it needed to have an upgrade. And I also wanted to bring in a more variety of people. So I had been interviewing a lot of very sort of spiritually inclined people, which is, happening. Everyone's getting into spirituality all over the world. But I also wanted to really open up the opportunities for other change makers, like the beautiful guest that we have with us today, to also come on the show and share even more, creating more influence, I suppose, really, as well. So I'm very excited about this. So welcome to Energetic Mastery Show. I'm Gennye Lyon. I am a energy coach. I'm a light activator. I work with people in groups. I work with people individually to shift their reality, upgrade their energy system, literally. So I started this show because I have this deep drive inside of me to make this world a better place and to spread light and higher levels of consciousness into people's living rooms without them having to sign up to specific media or anything like that. And actually, if they really enjoy watching this, they can have it for free. And yeah, it's available. So welcome to our wonderful guest who's with us all the way from Orlando. And her name is Susan Shatzer. And we've only just met, really. We've known each other for a few months through the online media. Could you just tell us a little bit more about, Susan Shatzer, where are you from and what do you do?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And it is amazing that the shift happened on the day that I was booked with you, going from Ascension with Energy. Wow. And thank you. I just feel honored to be a part of you and your show and with your audience. So I, basically, just started working with energy when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just Italians, but I had an Italian, upbringing, Italian with my mom, and then, German and Jewish with my dad. So there was quite the mix back and forth with that. But with the Italian culture, like, we hang all of our dead relatives on our walls. I don't know if everyone does that. We do that. So every room has like a dead relative or two or three or a married couple. And when we would all get to
honoring the ancestors, right?
Yeah, yes. So as we would, have family gatherings, like, they would show up and stand next to their picture and then start talking to me. So it was one of those things that at a very early age, I just knew I sort of had an affiliation with and was drawn to. So I just have moved through it. I mean, I speak with animals, I clear people's homes and lands for them with all kind of stuff underneath. And, my big stand really is to raise the vibrational frequency on the planet. And in working with you with this, we're on track with that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, we're on track. So you said that you have, so I find it really interesting, actually, when people have so many different cultures. Obviously, if you look at people's DNA, we come from, we have lots of different cultures in our DNA, but just it's very, obvious that you come from so many. It's so interesting because you will have so many like different influences in your not just upbringing, but everything culturally, patterns from the past, everything. How so is it like a multi? So you said German, Italian, and obviously you're in America.
Jewish. I live in America.
Yeah. So you have all these. So just tell me how that affected your, I suppose, your picture of yourself or the picture of the world as well.
Yeah, that's a great question. I grew up with Roman Catholicism up in Massachusetts.
Mm.
And it was very structured, and it didn't matter what you were doing, you were going to hell anyways. And it really got to be when I was about 17 and I was heading into confirmation, which is like the last step,
Yes.
before you're on your own. And they had us all sitting in pews, and it was, in order to be confirmed, we needed to have a confession, and we couldn't do it in the box. We had to do it in person in front of our priest. And, it was one of those things where I was a really good kid, and I had to sit there and think of 3 things that I did wrong. And, it was like, I didn't do drugs. There was no swearing back then, it was in the 80s, and, I didn't cheat. I didn't steal, I didn't run away from home. I didn't stay out late. It was like,
what am I doing wrong? So was this to be cleansed?
Yeah.
So that was the idea, to be cleansed.
Yeah. And so I had to lie. I had to make up 3 things. And I went in and I said to the pastor, like, oh, I disrespected my parents. I said the Lord's name in vain. I don't know. I just came up with like 3 things. And he said, okay, this is how many Hail Marys and how many stuff. And I walked out and I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I was like, this makes no sense. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. There has to be something else. And it was with that question that sort of spurred on incredible amounts of experiences.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you must have been around sort of like 14 at that, because that's the time of the confirmation, right? Sort of 14.
Yeah, it was more 17. We were graduating high school. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just tell me where your spiritual journey continued from there on.
Yeah. So I, did what, everyone was supposed to do back then. You graduated high school, you went to college, you got a job, you met the man, you got married, you bought the house, you had kids. So I was the, right in line with which was projected. And, we never had a conversation about, you really don't have to get married if you would not like to, or, you don't necessarily have to have kids if it's not something that would be in your best interest. It was like, nope, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do. So it really was 8 months after my son was born. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness, and it's not something like you're supposed to, get better from. And I knew that this couldn't be all there is. I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. Like, came all the way here, did all this in my life to have this situation. So I will tell you that the biggest shift for me was when his dad ended up walking out before my son turned 2. And it took quite a few years because there was a lot of anger, resentment. And I've got to tell you, so much was projected on us, coming from me as well, about deadbeat dad. How could you leave her? She has a baby, and, she has an illness, and, just how could you do? What kind of a man are you? Until death do you part, and in sickness and in health, and all this kind of stuff was just projected on us. So he could only show up that way. Wow. And it wasn't until I started asking questions, because questions empower us. And I asked the question like, okay, so like, what's right about this that I'm not getting? And that came from Access Consciousness. And what was right about it was he was choosing what worked for him. He wasn't choosing out of obligation or responsibility. And it was the greatest gift that he gave us.
Yes.
Because I was able to parent the way that I really, had wanted to parent. And I couldn't have done it, with the narcissism and the sociopathic, tendencies that were there with him. I couldn't do that. In fact, he couldn't become the man that he is today if his dad was a part of it. So, it's a shift. Most people, can't really get there where they're like, I'm grateful, which I am.
Well, as well, I mean, he showed you that he chose a path that wasn't that he basically just chose of what, for whatever reason he wanted to leave, that's what he did.
Yeah.
So that's okay. That's like disappointing, but he also shows that you can choose.
Yeah.
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 And then it gave you also the room to actually expand in a different way with your son, you know, because you had more room to move how you want to move it, right?
Absolutely.
Which is yeah, that is a gift in this. Absolutely. So
That changed everything.
yeah. So how old is your son now?
He is 17.
Yeah.
He's a pretty amazing kid. You know, he like skipped second grade. He's dual enrollment. He's full-time, you know, he's out of high. I mean, he graduates in May from high school, but he's already, you know, dual enrolled. He's in college. He's finishing his first year in college. He went from Legos to lizards in like 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And he's just been expanding ever since. You know, he's had geckos and frogs, and he bred them. And this is when like all of his friends were still playing with Legos.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was just so advanced, you know, for that time period. And yeah, he's pretty incredible.
Wow, that's amazing. So when did you decide to really come out, like from the, you know, hiding, or come out of the spiritual closet? What happened?
Yeah, thanks for this question. I believe it was where, you know, when I was diagnosed and then the divorce and all that kind of stuff was happening, it was like I was on a search because I knew this couldn't be all there is. You know, there's got to be something else there. And in asking that, I just researched everything. Dee Wallace, Mary Morrissey, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, like, you know, I can, you know, just keep going with all of the, you know, amazing mentors. And then I got to meet them. And in meeting them personally, you know, and having a rapport, it was like, wow, this person is a real person. And they just transcended beyond their problems. And so that's what I do, is I target with people like, what is the problem? What is our biggest problem? Because hidden inside that is our greatest possibility.
Of course. Yes. Absolutely. I mean, the greatest gifts lies in our challenges.
Yes.
Because once we transmute those and overcome it, it's actually becomes, it's a different gift than the ones that are coming naturally. Because the ones that are coming naturally, we just kind of do them, don't we? But the
kind of like, oh yeah, I've been doing that for a while now. People are like, how do you do that? I'm like,
it just comes which is great, because I feel like, I mean, this is quite interesting because I do something called a soul contract readings. And basically in those, you look at the challenges of the person, and those really transmuted into the gifts, as you say, is the greatest power. Exactly what you say. So I totally agree on that. And it's almost like, you know, personally, I've got so that's called sevens in my spiritual karma, which means that I want to hide spiritually, right? But I don't. I work through it. So I'm like, I am not hiding at all.
But not with a global TV.
I was, but you know what I mean? Not now. Yeah. And actually, that is a much nicer feeling than, you know, I'm quite organized, and naturally I'm other things, right? But that's a nicer feeling to be able to just go and do that than if I didn't, you know, than if I didn't do it. Yeah, cool. So what happened then? So you researched the different mentors, and then you met some of them as well. Would you like to tell us a little bit more how you met them and how it impacted your life and those things?
Sure. It was I went to different conferences, read books, webinars, all that kind of stuff, and, you know, really had this, you know, an energy kind of a thing where I would just pull the speaker, the person to me and me to them. And, you know, it just so happened that I ended up on stage a lot, which then got me backstage a lot, which then allowed me to have, some interpersonal connections
Mm-hmm.
with these people. And it's so incredible to find out that they've been there too,
Yeah.
that we're not like, you are not alone.
No.
And what I've learned is that everything that's happened to us, everything, and everything that we've said and done, everything that's been said and done to us, and everything that we've said and done is exactly what was supposed to be said and done. And it has brought you to this nanosecond in your life where you now have choice with a different possibility than you did the nanosecond before you had the realization or awareness that everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to. So whether it was abuse, poverty, loss, guilt, whatever that happens to be, it's like, that's all okay, cool. It's like, it's not right or wrong. It's just like, okay, yeah, that happened. And okay, now what's possible? Like, let's make a different choice now. We don't have to run that programming in the background any longer. And when that gets shed, their vibrational frequency raises, and like attracts like. So then you get to attract similar energies. And that's really how I was able to kind of hang out with some of the top people.
Yeah. And also, I believe that, well, exactly, you seek likes. So yes, so when you're shifting and you have a new intention, new opportunities turn up, right?
Absolutely.
But it's like you can choose, like exactly what you say. It's like you can choose in every moment.
Yeah.
Because the moment is gone, is gone. And this moment here, we can just change it.
Yes.
And if you have that awareness, like every day, of course, you can change your reality.
Yeah. In fact, it's interesting with my son at 17, and he'll say, I got invited to this and I got invited to that, and I feel like I should. I'm like, okay, so like, what would work for you? And he goes, well, I think I should probably because I have to. And I'm like, that's not the question.
No.
What would work for you? If you chose what worked for you every time, then they can choose what works for them. Exactly. And then there's no obligation or responsibility back and forth. And he's like, okay.
Good. Yeah. So he's following his intuition, really.
Yes.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is a lot of the conditioning and a lot of the heartache, a lot of the just hurdles that we create for ourselves because we thought, believed, or judged, or just thought that was the right way, instead of like really thinking for ourselves, is this the right way? It's quite interesting. I'm having conversations with other energy workers and other people that are business women, but they are soul led. They are working with an open heart, and even learning new things about the online world, or learning new things about how they should do their business. They can tap inside, because what worked for someone might not work for them. Yeah, so again, it's like you can tap into that inner wisdom, give yourself permission to ask yourself, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like are you willing to let go of the have to, must, should, and it comes up a lot with family and business.
And they might expect things from you as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the more we take the trust in ourselves back, and the more we allow us, to trust that and being guided by ourselves, open to guidance. I would say it's good to be open to guidance, right? But then you can really create some magic. And I think also what I feel from doing this strategy with anyone's life is that you get quicker results, because you it's like you're following a different flow that is just yours.
Yeah, you took it on that fast, you can let it go that fast.
Exactly.
The whole therapy and a long time, and the 10 years, 20 years, and the thousands of dollars, like, how'd that work for you? Like, not so much.
No, and it's just lengthy and takes, it takes too long.
Well, they ask you to like revisit it. So it's like, how did that make you feel? And what did you think? And what was going through your mind when? It's like, wait a minute.
Regurgitating.
Yeah, yes.
Let's re-traumatize you in 3.
Yes, yes. Let's just lock that in. All
Lock
right.
that in. Do you feel better now? No, I feel worse. I wonder why. Sorry, I'm being...
It's 2020, so you have choices.
I love it. I knew they would come out. I love it. Brilliant, brilliant. So, this question comes to me now. I like doing it all flowy because it's easier. What is the biggest like shift you've seen in someone where you go, wow, that's like great, amazing?
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing a lot of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's, friends and, current clients, previous clients are like reaching back out and they're like at a stuck point with, and this is part of the ascension process, but it's like the aches and pains and the emotions and the ties that are still there that really were sort of taking a look at, what was that in your childhood? Like I had a family member come to me this week and she just said, this person and just she's this and this and this happens and this is what shows up. And, I've talked with her before about how this person is sort of stuck at this age level. Okay? And now like 60 years have gone by and she's still stuck at that age level because it was a, soul-wrenching traumatic experience.
Yeah.
And so it like pushes people away, the kind of like energy that she has. So this family member was saying, how can I change that? And it's like, maybe I can like the unlikable. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, okay, so what about you don't you like? Because it's not about them. And if we understand that, it's never about them.
No, it's never about them.
They're showing up in your life to give you the experience, right? To have the awareness that now's the time to let that go. And it's within you.
And it's a decision.
Yes, it's a choice.
You can choose.
Yeah, absolutely.
And although that sounds like, really, can I choose? I mean, sometimes when I speak to my clients, it's like, okay, so what would you choose now? If you could just go, right, just choose it. What is it going to be?
Right.
And that's kind of like a new, well, it's not new, but, it's going to take this long and it's not going to be easy. I'm like, why not?
We were taught too to like figure it out. Did you figure that out? Did you get it? Did you make a good choice? Did you make the right decision? All this duality and polarity. And it's like, okay, look, like I chose this, what, it's not working for me. I'm choosing something else now. And we were never allowed to do that. It was like, now you made your bed, you got to lie in it. Wait a minute.
So because it was very much because I suppose generation like wise, there was less connection deeper, wisdom. So you had to figure it out because you were kind of fumbling in the dark a bit from an intuitive maybe point of view, because there was less conscious, the consciousness was not as developed. So that is what they knew, and that is what we've been taught. But actually now it's like, no, we can take away the conditioning that we've been taught and just access this knowledge and wisdom that we have within us that is inherent anyway, and just trust that. That's just a new way. Who's coming? Who's coming on that one? And actually when you start realizing that is the case, or when people do, they go, holy cow, I can choose. Like, yes, you can just, that's it, it's gone.
It's like this aha, like they were given permission to not function from the way they were taught. And it's not our parents' fault because they didn't know.
No.
Teachers, coaches, everybody, but now we have a greater awareness of, connecting the dots. Science is just now catching up with us.
Yes. Yeah, they're just sort of going, we can confirm that thought is an energy. And it, I was like, yeah, it is, yeah. Well done.
Yeah.
Oh, we're being so cheeky. Never mind. So yeah. So what's happening, like, because we're in the UK, so there is, I would say, just generally, like, look, this coronavirus is going on at the moment, and just like, whoa, everywhere. What's happening in America? Like, what's the radar in America at the moment? I know America's very, very big, so maybe you just want to talk about Florida. I don't know. But what's happening with their consciousness, and what are people doing?
Yeah, it's interesting. So so I'm in Florida, and so we get a lot of hurricanes here.
Mhm.
And the media does a great job at panicking everyone. Just incredible. We run out of gas, we run out of water, we are, buying wood. It's funny. You really have to laugh, with it.
Yeah.
In fact, the one we had last year, we did not get a single drop of water. It never even rained. Never rained.
Wow.
And they had us set up for this category 5, thing that was supposed to happen.
Wow.
And so it's sort of like, so I went and did retail therapy. So, instead of like propane and toilet paper and water, I was like, well, the malls, all the stores will be empty. So I went in and I bought these cute shoes, and and everyone just thought I was so crazy. And then it was, not a drop. It's like, look, are you willing to have the awareness that this isn't going to happen, or this is going to happen? So with the coronavirus, it's the same thing. It's like, are you willing to have the awareness of if you should go to work that day, or you should go to school that day, or if you should wear a mask or not wear a mask, or, go shopping or not go shopping? Like, and your body, what I've also learned is your body is more conscious than you are.
Yes.
We like to think we're like all that in a bag of chips, but we have points of view and beliefs about things that keep us from actually tapping into what's like true. So in working with people with their bodies, they have a connection with that, and there's just this, okay, body would like to eat this, and body would like to go here. And it's kind of like, you make money, right? But and then you buy clothes. Who wears the clothes? You are the body. The body wears the clothes. You're the energy. You're the being. Who eats the food? Who exercises, or who works out? Who has sex? What if you let the body chose who it wanted to have sex with?
Well, exactly. What feels right? No, because the body consciousness is, I mean, it's something I've worked with in light body activations, where you actually align the body consciousness with the soul. So you're actually doing the right things and choose to have more of a conscious choice about what you're doing with the body. But absolutely. And it's quite interesting how many, so some of the clients that I work with, like, there's so many that can be disconnected also from the body. So not with no one's fault, really, in the sense that they don't know that they should be listening to the body. And as soon as you reconnect that feeling, and they're like, I can feel it in my body now. Yes, that's like that's a really good indication of whatever XYZ. So if you follow that, then the body's going to tell you.
Yeah, your body doesn't have a point of view about things. You do.
No, yeah, exactly. It doesn't have a point of view. It's just it's reading the information of what is going to be a good thing for you or not.
And it's so interesting because people say, well, how does that work for you? I'm like, well, for lunch today, I had an avocado cranberry sauce and like a little piece of chicken. And they're like, really? I'm like, does that even go together? And I said, well, it's not about going. It tasted great for me. It's not a combination I would technically choose.
No.
Oh yeah, I like this, this, and this together. But the body knows, and it also knows, the elements and the minerals and the little things that it requires, the vitamins that you aren't aware of that it needs. So it gives you that craving. And then when you ask it, it'll tell you.
Yeah. I think a good example is when people are, women are pregnant,
Yeah.
although it can be crazy cravings. But actually, if you look at sometimes what they're craving is that one vitamin that was needed. And the body is going, you have to eat this. This is going to be really good for the baby. I don't know if you're more aware when you're pregnant, but that was just what I thought of. So
yeah, absolutely. I used to do a conscious birthing and beyond international workshop, and it was all about the awarenesses that moms have and our kids have, and how they're teaching us. And our target was to actually shift and change like how birthing was done, because the babies kind of came to me and they said, there's a different possibility for us being born, and we would like for you to facilitate this. And I was like, oh, okay, what is that going to look like? And it was one of those things where the forceps and the pulling and all that kind of stuff and the suction thing was not actually true. It's what the doctors did, which is what the doctors before them did, which is what the doctors before them did. And the babies were saying, hey, there's a different possibility here. Can you help us change this? And some of the co-hosts, this one mom, she was like laughing during labor. And the nurse said to her, aren't you in pain? She's like, no, I think this is so funny. And she's like, well, are you sure you're not in pain? And she's like, no, I'm good. and
that is so funny.
And so she went to the point where she made herself wrong, because here's the expert telling her she should be in pain. So she went and found the pain in her body. And then she was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I got pain now. And it was
no. So yeah, okay.
Talking with us that she realized that she was just doing birth differently.
And she was just doing the way that she was maybe meant to do it, right?
Yeah. Because that's one of the things you get when you're pregnant. Everybody's going to tell you their horror story.
Yeah, or tell them how, don't do this or don't do that, and then you've got to follow, these steps. Yeah, cool. So what is happening for yourself like this year? What's happening? Because you've got a show. Just tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, we have a global TV show called Unlocking Your Limitless Life with Susan Shatzer. And the target is, we look for like the best kept secrets. So it's people, men and women, from all around the world who just don't have the like following or the audience. Like no one can find them. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's so much social media out there that we sort of take that. We film a series with you, a 4 or 5 part series. We professionally edit it, and we blast you out into the masses. We're on, streaming platforms, Roku. We're on the internet. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, and then they get to use this professional information about themselves to then market themselves that they normally would not have been able to have at the speed at which we do it for them.
Oh wow. That's like,
so it was so interesting. One of our guests was in a foreign country, and he said, is that a smart TV? And the bartender was like, yeah, it is. He goes, okay, can you put just this and this channel? But sure. So all of a sudden, his shows are playing on all the TVs in the bar. And the guy next to him says, hey, isn't that you? He goes, yeah, that's me. And when you're on TV in a foreign country, like you are the superstar.
Wow.
everybody just like wanted his number, wanted to know what he was doing, how they could be a part of it. And it was like instant stardom. And there's so many stories like that with our guests.
That is so great. Like, that is so wonderful. It's almost like you're giving everyone a good shot.
Yeah, it's marketing done differently. It really is, because you have these right on your phone. So like one of our guests was in the airport and she was like packing her stuff up and ready to, you know, get on the plane. And the woman next to her says, "Hey, what do you do?" She goes, "Oh, I'll show you." Blip, blip, blip on her phone, hands her the phone. The woman watches this, you know, 5-8 minute thing. She hands her back her phone with a credit card and says, "I'm booking you. You can't get on that plane and leave until we have time set up." I mean, it was like, you know, it's marketing done differently now.
Whoa, it's amazing, because it's just like, look, let's just put trust in these people, because everyone is genius and powerful in their own way. So yeah, I mean, that sounds, it's just very different, because normally they'll go, who can we put on the show that is going to give value, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Who's going to go on there that is going to be, you know, really well and presented or something. Yeah.
In fact, there's a gentleman who's speaking today, right now, actually. Mm-hmm. And so his show was Webby nominated for an award. Mm-hmm. So he has his show and he's playing his show first, and then he's going to be talking about his topic after that. And it's this huge marketing tool that you can use. Another woman, she has hers looping at a booth. She does a lot of fairs and expos. Mm-hmm. So it's done differently now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's more of the relationship that you're building when you're talking, when you're doing your life. I guess that's kind of it. It's not separate anymore.
No.
You know, it's a part of you. You know, where you go, marketing, you have a professionally made design targeted with your message, your mission, and what it is that you're here to do in the world.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right, so I think we're going to see if anyone have any questions. So I don't think there was anyone on the Zoom. See if anyone.
Well, who has a problem?
Who has a problem? Yeah, let's do this. So Victoria, I wonder if she's still watching. Who has a problem? So come on, Facebook watchers.
Who can we help you with?
Tell us.
What can we help you with?
Fear. So Victoria's saying that fear perpetuates spending, and the US is all about making everything available to feed the need and the fear. Yeah.
So right away, fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is a lie. Fear is not your truth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you are way more powerful than your fear. Your fear is there to stop you. It's a distraction. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is a distraction. I think also, I mean, from a consciousness level, what is really important, I think, here is to understand that everyone have got a choice what we expose ourselves to, right? Because if we can focus on what we want to create, as opposed to focus on what it is that is destroying us or something, you know, then that choice and that focus is so much more powerful than paying attention to things that are just going to they might not destroy you, but they might not be so helpful. And I'm talking now media, and I'm talking about other things, anything. So choosing creation.
Yeah, it's sort of like when you feel like fear, you know, anger, rage, hate, that kind of stuff, you can feel yourself contract in on yourself.
Yeah.
That's the lie. Exactly. And then those things that expand you, that's the truth. Mm-hmm. So if we spend most of our thought time, you know, in fear, that's what we're going to get more of. Or if we spend more of our thought time in abundance, then that's what you're going to get more of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also because the human experience can be challenging, right? So our thoughts could go to what seems challenging because we're trying to work it out. Yeah. You know, we're trying to think ourselves through what we're going to do. And I think that's just that's just natural, like we're solution orientated. We're trying to fix it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's just bringing awareness to go, aha, there is the challenge. What can I do in action steps that I feel is the good way to do it, to fix this? And then have the ability, I think we're all victims of this, right?
Yeah.
Have the ability to shift the awareness to what it is. Go back to your creation, go back to your vision, go back to what it is you want to see, in your life and for other people. And if you're not sure what that is, meditate. Maybe find out what it is that makes you feel happy and passionate, and see those things. I mean, I speak to some of my relatives, and sometimes I speak to my mom and she tells me these things that are fear-based, and I'm like, hey, I want you to focus on these amazing, I said, look, what can you focus on today that is going to make your day amazing? And she was like, oh yeah, of course, thank you for reminding me. So she knows me obviously what I talk about. And I think sometimes people just got to be reminded that
what would be fun?
Huh?
If you ask that question every day, like, what would be fun for you?
Yeah.
What would be joyful?
Fun.
And then choose that.
Yeah, exactly. And choose to think about that or focus on that.
Yeah. One of the biggest things people will ask me is, what's the fastest way to change a frequency? And
fun.
Yeah, fun for sure. Fun and laughter. But music is an acoustical vibration.
Yeah.
So if you can say, hey, Google or Alexa, you've got your phone, YouTube, put on music, because your body is energy. Music is energy, and it will shift.
Yes.
It will shift. Your thinking will shift, your body will shift, and it will be instantaneous. The song's 2 minutes long. That's the fastest way I know of for you to shift your frequency out of whatever sadness, anger, fear, whatever that is. You don't have to sit there. Get your music on, get the flow going, and shift out of it.
Shift it. Yeah, absolutely. Great. So I don't think there was any questions specifically. I'll have a quick look again.
Okay.
See if there was
I know in our chat here, Camilla's here, and Mary, if you both have questions.
See if they've got any questions. Camilla, I think they've left the Zoom webinar. Maybe they need to. Yeah, there was no questions there. So how can people hear more about you or just get in contact?
Absolutely. So if you'd like to see some of our guests on the show, we have over 2,000 views on our shows. We have over 100 shows up there. You can go to the YouTube channel, Unlocking Your Limitless Life. And then if you click the playlist, we have everyone is there, and they have their own playlist. And we do behind the scenes, we do bloopers, we do watch parties, we do all kind of fun stuff. And we continue to promote our guests throughout the whole year.
Cool.
With other things that we kind of do, sporadically. And to find me, I'm on all the social media, Susan Shatzer. You can reach out to me. I am definitely here. That is my stand, is to really raise the vibrational frequency. And I know it begins with us. And what happens is when we let go of something that we've been holding on to, we actually free everybody else that was helping us hold on to it.
Yeah. So
anyone who was validating that in your reality for you, because, what you think is what you believe. And then, God universe is like, okay, well, here's more of that. Exactly. When you shift that, you actually free everyone else. So if we all started with, what would be fun for me today, and kind of and chose that and raised our vibrational frequency, and know that everything that's happened to you, it's okay. You made it. You're here. You're on the other side. You're breathing. You're walking. You're talking.
Amazing. Yes.
And you signed up for it.
Exactly.
So, and that's okay, because now it's done.
Yeah. So best way to shift our reality, have some fun, tap into a different frequency of, vibrational frequency that seems, good. And
Yeah.
it will naturally also shift your your train of thoughts, because they will just, you know, disintegrate, and you just shift your awareness. Great. So thank you very much. We could drop, feel free actually to drop your YouTube link below the Facebook video, because maybe
Okay.
some people want to go to and have a look.
Yeah. Go to see it.
Feel free to do that, Susan.
And people can apply to be a guest. We have like an application.
Oh, wow. Cool. So
Yeah.
people who is watching this, apply to be a guest on the show. Fantastic.
We've had people fly over from South Africa who come over. I mean, it's like,
amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thank you so much for coming, and I'll be in touch. What I'm going to do, we'll stop the stream on Facebook, and then I'll wrap up with you as well, Susan. So bye everyone.
Everyone.
And I will see you all soon. So we're just going to stop the stream now.